RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
Can you hear me now? All right, we got audio. What about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello. What the fuck is going on? Oh, I think audio is coming out now. All right, good. I'm just going to proceed, and what I'll do is I'll have to go back and fix the beginning with a little bit of a promo or something like that. Okay, I'll just keep going because I knew it was going to be a shit show today. I knew the show was going to be a shit show because I have a lot of it's the new 2-hour show, and thank you guys for helping me out get the audio going. And because it's a 2-hour show, I had to, not that it matters, why do you need to know the technical details? I had to loop in Skype to be able to hear Skype, but apparently I didn't loop in the show. And, you know, we learn as we go. And so, because the good news is there will be a call-in line, and I think in the description of the show, you'll see the call-in line and the number you can call in. So in the second hour of the show, you'll be able to call in. We will also have a guest. Aaron Blaine is calling in. He is a comedian, and he has got some shows coming up, and he's going to help me break down the madness that is what the hell is going on in this country. So I apologize for the first... what time is it? 7 minutes, okay, of the show. We, let's kick it into gear and do what we got to do. Okay, so anyway, my name is Tara Devlin. We meet here every Saturday evening from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Well, what am I saying? 7 p.m. From 6 to 8 now, because it's a new day. And it's very good, actually, because the show... As far as, the show is rebroadcast on Progressive Voices and also GDPR Revolution 99. The complaint about the show that I would get, besides the microphone, was that it was too short, which is a good complaint, and I appreciate that. I really wish I could do a show every single day, frankly, but I just can't, because the fact of the matter is, we need to pay our bills, right? So I work and do other jobs to get money, and all the money that I make primarily goes into the site and other things like paying people to write. And this show, it's not cheap. So, I mean, it looks cheap, but it does have, you gotta pay. Like, for instance, the call-in studio. That's a thing that is now, but it's all good. I'm not complaining. Just encouraging people to, help us, support us, and we'll grow, and we'll, who knows where the hell this will go. And you can say you are an early adopter of the Tarabuster revolution. All right, so this week sucked as usual. I can't believe where the hell we live. I kind of turned a corner where I think that we're lost. We're completely lost. And I am with Bernie and a lot of people, because I saw Bernie Sanders on Bill Maher last night, and he was saying how this is the most important election of our lifetime coming up, 2018. And because if we don't get it back, it's gone. It is almost gone as it is. You see what's happening. And I cannot believe that the corporate media constantly treats this effing traitor as if he is a legitimate president. Why? And the Democrats as well. So they don't want to piss off the Trump supporters. Well, there's going to be that bottom, swampy base. Then they talk about the swamp, drain the swamp, drain the swamp. What they're talking about when they're talking about draining the swamp, they're talking about democracy. According to them, that's the swamp that needs to go. Now, we all heard, it's sort of like when Barack Obama was running for president. He was our national Rorschach test, where we projected our hopes and fears and dreams. Everybody had a different projection that when they saw him, it was the end of civilization for these bastards. For me, I saw somebody who I believed was going to be like the next FDR. That's what I was hoping, because I was like, well, this guy came from nothing. He was raised by a single mom. He lifted himself up in this racist-ass country, executive office in the land. He must know the deal. He must know how that he can't negotiate with snakes. And in fact, when he got elected, not that it matters, I'm sure he got a lot of things, but I actually sent him a book, the book about FDR called Traitor to His Class, and which is about how FDR, who was born into wealth. And in fact, when you think about FDR, think about this, that FDR's inherited fortune was $25 million in today's money. $25 million. That was a fortune. If you can't live on $25 million, then there's a problem, right? Now we have billionaires in this country. Why are there billionaires in a country, in anywhere? There should not be billionaires. Where you have people who can't eat, people who don't have homes. That's unconscionable. And there's it's also a detriment to democracy. It is a direct assault on democracy. You cannot have concentrated wealth and democracy at the same time. And that's why the founders understood that, having fought a revolution against the intergenerational aristocracy. And they had discussions about progressive taxation. And after the first Gilded Age, you had Teddy Roosevelt and the progressives. Didn't matter, he was a Republican, he was a progressive. And in fact, when FDR went to Teddy Roosevelt, his uncle, who he had great admiration for, and he said, I'm going to run as a Democrat. He had trepidation about telling his uncle, who he admired so much, that he was going to run as a Democrat. And Teddy Roosevelt said to him, well, as long as you are a progressive, I know we'll be okay. As long as you're progressive. Could you imagine a friggin' Republican today talking like that? And in fact, of course, any of the Roosevelt, Teddy or FDR, of course they're not. Teddy Roosevelt would not even be welcome in the Republican Party today. And this is a person who, obviously, he was a person of his time. He was a big game hunter, which is complete bullshit. But you can't, whatever. He was a person of his thing, as with the founders, and everybody's a product of their time. So, but anyway, what was I going to say? So these filthy Republicans, I just got off track there. What the hell was I saying? I went down a road. There was a point. This happens occasionally. It's called a brain fart. It's just, you know what it is? I have just so many things that are going on in my brain that want to come out at the same time. And they're all battling. So, yeah. These, let's just say this week, I was talking about the legitimate president and the filthy billionaires, and the truth is, we are off the rails. This country is really lost, and it's by design. The Republicans understand one thing. They know about divide and conquer, because they are ultimately a fundamentally undemocratic ideology. That's it's conservatism, and we've always fought this. The battle for civilization has always been one against conservatism and progressivism. It's been against the power of the moneyed elite and the working majority, the working class majority. So how does this moneyed elite, which are they are the few and we are the many, how do they keep us down? How do they keep us under their heel? They use the oldest tricks in the book, divide and conquer. And Republicans are masters at it. And They have to be, because what else do they have? They have nothing but lies to peddle. And they're traitors, they're con men. No wonder we have an open con man as a president. This guy is a con man. It's on the record. He is not, it's not just a pejorative. We're not just saying, oh, he's a con man. He is a fucking con man. And there's gonna be some cursing. I'm sorry. It's for mature audiences, because we need you can't mince words or whatever. It's yeah, he's a con man, and it's on the record. He's been sanctioned by the courts for being a con man. He's had to pay restitution for being a con man. He's had to make people whole again because he's a effing con man. So we have I can't even stop cursing. It's because I can't believe we're continuing to allow it. And what the hell have we become? What have we become in this country with this? We not only have a con man as a president, but what he's turning us into, because they need divide and conquer. So, and as I was saying with FDR, you know, if you can't live on $25 million, woe to you. You know, then you don't deserve, you need a mental hospital. So there was an understanding at one time that we knew that the working class understood who it was up against. That's the difference between then and now, when we had the progressive, the progressive age that was ushered in after how many goddamn people have to die and starve and in capitalism's merciless clutches. Now, people, another thing that annoys me is when working people say, oh, I'm a capitalist. When you get up every effing day and you go to work from 9 to 5, you're not a capitalist, sucker. You're a freaking worker. You're a laborer. If you're trading your time for a paycheck, the time and your skill, you're not an effing capitalist, you moron. You're a goddamn worker. And the fact that you can work an 8-hour day and go home and have a couple of days off on the weekend is thanks to people who died. They put their lives on the line and died for you. Just like all those soldiers in Arlington National Cemetery and all these cemeteries around the world who fought fascism, who fought to keep the Union together, who gave their last measures of devotion so Donald effing conman Trump can tweet about his amazing economy. Oh, nice explanation point. That is, what a disgrace. And all the Republicans, it just never stops, right? They don't have any integrity. They don't care. And who knew that it would be so fast, so quickly? We understood what disgusting, greedy bastards the Republican Party were. We knew it when John Boehner was handing out checks on the floor of the House from the tobacco lobby. Was literally, that's when it should have been enough is enough. Why didn't he go to goddamn prison? Why do we have a system with illegal bribery built right into it? So I guess we're dumb. And we've been lulled into a state of security like it can't happen here. Well, it's happening here. And now we have this access of authoritarianism, and the United States is in it. And it's not even that we're leading it. This country, thanks to the con man dupe Donald Trump, who wants to sidle up to dictators with dictator envy, the United States is in this authoritarian axis of evil, and we're not even at the helm. We're not even leading it. He's being led by his balls, his greedy balls. Who wants to think of that, really? Not me. Not Melania, either. Nobody wants to think of that. Those shrivel-ups. Such weak. He's a weakling. He talks about, everything is strong. He's so the strong, powerful. That's because he's overcompensating. God knows. Really. He's the one who speaks the loudest has the least to say, as the Native American saying goes. So we have Donald Trump as a con man, and it keeps on going. And I'm listening to the MSNBC talk about, because Donald Trump let the North Koreans into the White House. Of course, they probably planted a bug. I mean, now they probably couldn't find room for the bug. It was so many other bugs in there, from the Russians, from Duterte, from the Turkish government. Everybody goes in there and puts a bug somewhere. We're clearly being played like a fucking dupe. He's playing we're being played like Trump University students were played. And it's not okay. I don't know. Why is this okay? And the Republicans, they keep on keeping on, right? Hanging in there. Hang in there, baby. What's his face? The demon Paul Ryan, the sociopathic Ayn Rand acolyte Paul Ryan, tweets how America's on her way back. Where is this? It doesn't even matter, or something like that. It was so irritating to me. America is on her way back. Where the hell was she? Well, back to where? Back to times best left in the dung heap of history? Back to authoritarianism, back to racism, back to hatred, division, stupidity. Why back? You know, it was back when President Obama was elected. There was a little glimmer of hope there, like, oh, all right, maybe this country isn't that lost. If we could elect somebody that is somebody named Barack Hussein Obama in this racist ass country, yeah, that gave me hope. But then, you know, I was disappointed. I was really disappointed. And the thing that is also concerning is that Barack Obama is out there talking about, like, oh, well, maybe we went too far. No, the problem is you didn't go far enough. I don't get it. Why don't they hear this? Why don't they hear the message that is being sent loud and clear? If you look at Bernie Sanders, he is the most respected politician in the country, then the most beloved. He's an open socialist, in spite of the fact that for decades Republicans have been vilifying socialism as Nazism, because it has National Socialists. That's what the Nazis will see. They know that their voters are stupid. They don't. You know, it's like socialism has as much to do with Nazism as the People's Republic of China has to do with republicanism. Or the Democratic Republic of freaking North Korea. They're so infantile that they can't think outside of a name. You know, I always say, it's like they say, oh, well, Lincoln freed the slaves, so Republicans must not be racist. Really? You got to go back to 1865 to get something to hang on to. But despite the fact that the Republican Party was founded as a progressive party, but it doesn't matter. You know, as long as they're called Republican, it doesn't matter what they do. Like, you know, I always say, give a right winger some dog poo on an ice cream cone and say, hey, here's some ice cream. Since you don't care what it is, you only care what it's called. Take a lick. You know, it doesn't matter what's in it, right? As long as you call it the Republican Party. But it's not the same. They're babies. We're dealing with emotional babies. And I don't want to insult babies, because babies grow up. And some of them grow up to be nice people, and others grow up to be a Paul Ryan, who is complicit. You have a party of traitors, of greedy traitors. They would sell their own mother to Putin if it meant some seeming sense of power in this short period of time that we all spend on this planet, that we have to live together. We have these greedy bastards that they would they'll take milk out of baby's mouth. They'll take your retirement and kick you over a cliff. They don't give a crap how you live or whatever, as long as they got theirs, sucker. So, but that's how sick they are. So you have Paul Ryan saying, "Oh, America's on her way back," as all of this is going on, and we all have to pretend that Donald Trump is normal, and watching the corporate media, watching Trump on the corporate media, and talking, and these pundits talking about him as if he is legitimate. That he is not legitimate, and we should never ever forget it, because do you think that if, let's say, the shoe was on the other foot and Hillary Clinton was now in the Oval Office, despite receiving fewer votes, that we would ever hear the end of it from the Republican Party? They would be in court. It would be constant. How about if the Republicans stole a Supreme Court seat from a legitimate president, violating the Constitution? They don't give a crap about the Constitution, the voters, or anybody. Nothing. Any person who died for this country, they will spit on your grave, because they're doing it metaphorically every single day, and they're doing it right out in the open by stealing a Supreme Court seat from a president that was legally elected popularly, despite their scumbags who are in the Oval Office now and in the House, because Democrats won over 1 million more votes, and they're still not in the majority. That's not democracy. That's gerrymandering. That's Republicans cheating, because you can't win legitimately on the field of ideas, so they gotta cheat. They got to give themselves an advantage, just like Donald Trump. He's making bank now, despite being a traitor and a serial bankrupt, because he's rigging the game in his favor. These people, they're such great titans of industry. They're such great innovators, but they can't seem to make a buck unless the game is rigged in their favor, right? They know nothing about business. Oh, but Donald Trump is the worst negotiator. He's the worst businessman. He is. Know him by his fruits. But, who cares, right? As long as he hates the appropriate minority group du jour, and I guess tells people what they want to hear. I don't know. I don't really know. So America's on her way back to being, we're back to being a laughingstock of the world, back to not, and worse, because we're not just a laughingstock, because we were a laughingstock under Bush, but now we're vilified, and we're also held up as an example of what not to let happen in your country. And all over the globe, you see how there's a sense of fear, as what happened in Ireland with the vote against, obviously, the church and the entrenched power structure of these right-wing devils. They voted overwhelmingly to legalize abortion, and that's happening all over, because people they're afraid for conservatism to get a foothold, to continue their stranglehold on normal, decent human life. And that's what we are, on the right side of history, really. We're on the right side of history, humanity. Look at who and this is the thing Aaron and I are going to talk about in the next hour, and whoever wants to jump in, too, can call. And hopefully the calling will work. Let's see, that's where this is the first run here, so. But we have Republicans running open pedophiles and open Nazis. This is the Donald Trump effect, and there you have Paul Ryan tweeting how America's on her way back. So before, what I want to talk about, I'm going to save that for the second hour with when Aaron calls in, and anybody else wants to get in on the conversation. That'll be fun. So I'm able to take calls, hopefully, and you guys will be the guinea pigs if you can bear with it. But I also wanted to discuss, because there's so much going on, it never stops. One of the things, I just wanted to touch on the Samantha Bee thing, because I think that She should not have apologized. It's unbelievable. You see what happens. See, no matter what happens, when something occurs in the Republican world, right, to them, if that's negative, that they immediately scour the world. They'll go through your blog posts. They'll go back to when you were in junior high, whatever. They have the money to do this because they are funded by billionaires who want to keep you thinking that we're living in a democracy and that you have a vote and that you matter and that all you need to do is to work harder and shut your mouth and salute the flag when told and die in their corporate war du jour when told, and to keep you dumb, But Ivanka, when what's her face tweeted the cluelessness of this Ivanka. See, of all of the Trump crime family, I hate them all. I hate Donald Jr. I hate him. He is, there's nothing good. They have done nothing for this planet. All of them combined. In fact, they are detrimental to the planet. They're killing this planet. And for him to go and kill beautiful animals, it's just something sick. There's something very sick about him. But then there's Ivanka, she's just as sick and disgusting, but of course, I guess she looks good, but she's really ugly to me. I see her as an ugly human being, because what does she do? She is, with all her wealth and power and privilege, the best she can come up with is a sweatshop in China. And her cluelessness, while this country is dragging children away from their parents, people who are seeking asylum in this beacon of liberty and democracy. Bring me your tired, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. I lift my lamp aside your golden door or whatever. This country is ripping mothers and children apart. What kind of damage does that do? That is disgusting. And they talk about, it's a deterrent. It's a very tough deterrent. You're so tough, right? They're really tough when they're kicking down on the vulnerable, but they can't seem to even take the criticism when a comedian calls them a bad word. Oh, then they wilt like snowflakes, right? But they don't want to look at themselves to see what brings on that kind of vilification. And in fact, I don't think Samantha Bee should have apologized for a goddamn thing. And the use of the C word, it was, of course, for comedic effect. And whatever, I don't need to explain it to you, but you can't take it, snowflake. But it's okay. Let's not just discuss the disgusting policies of the United States. How we became this is beyond. It's beyond repugnation. I don't know. Is that a word? Repugnance? No, repugnation. That's not a word. Repugnation. It sounds like a puppy mill. Anyway, but it's repugnant. That's the word. I don't know if I need to play it. Should I play the thing? All right, I'll play Samantha Bee's. Nah, I don't know. All right, I'll play it. Whatever.
After decades of ignoring the issue, Americans are finally paying attention. Well, most of us. Ivanka Trump, who works at the White House, chose to post the second most oblivious tweet we've seen this week. You know, Ivanka, that's a beautiful photo of you and your child, but let me just say, one mother to another, do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless cunt. He listens to you. Put on something tight and low cut and tell your father to fucking stop it. Tell him it was an Obama thing and see how it goes, okay?
Exactly. And that's it. But let's not dive into the message. It's that she was offended by this word, not offended by the inaction and the complicity. And then when Ivanka, apparently when she was on a phone call this week because she is going after, she's a grifter. She's got to make all her deals. She's got with her sweatshop and all her trademark deals. I don't know why anybody would buy anything that's hers. That's why I'm like, I get very depressed sometimes because I think, am I alone in this world? Like sometimes I just feel very alone in the world because I look at other people and I'm like, wow, this is dumb. And it just makes me feel alone. But that's why I guess we have each other. Because I just think like, how did you get so dumb and mean and ignorant and greedy? Why does it matter? I mean, that's all you could do. That's all you're doing with all that money. I mean, obviously they don't have as much as we thought, but because they're liars. Everything. Trump is a liar. In fact, if he had to pay off a porn star in $100,000 installments or something like that, it's you know what I mean. If you're a billionaire, you just write a check. You don't have to pay off a porn star in installments. It's a little bit ridiculous, but we know that he's just a liar, and the Republicans are so dumb to believe that he's in there draining the swamp. What does that mean? I mean, what he's doing is wreaking havoc and creating a lot of work for us to clean up. And I don't know sometimes if we're going to make it. That's what gets me depressed. So you have this, and look at this picture. I don't have it ready, but the picture of Ivanka with her son in contrast of the children's bus, where we now have a bus, well, maybe more than one, that is outfitted with baby seats for children to be detained from their parents. It's disgusting. It is effing disgusting. This is who we are. And when you know that in the light of history, how we'll be judged, I know that we're going to be judged as, well, I know that Donald Trump and the Republican Party, they're not going to be judged kindly. They will be vilified in the light of history. And I only hope that I'm around to see it. I hope it happens sooner than later, because we don't have a lot of time. This country and this world is standing on a brink, and with Kim Jong-un coming to the White House or whatever, this whole thing is such a joke that he's being so easily played. And meanwhile, he's a traitor, right? So we have now Donald Trump is being played by Kim Jong-un. He'll do anything. He'll bend over. He'll let Kim Jong-un bang him like a broken screen door and all that. Because he wants to seem like he's successful. And it doesn't matter what the reality is. Now, the world did not start on the day that Donald Trump was inaugurated. If there's any improvement in the economy, it's because of the work that's been going on for years and years and years. When Barack Obama took office and we were hemorrhaging 750,000 jobs a month. And that didn't turn around overnight. It's slow. And the problem is that President Obama, the reason we're in this predicament too is that the Democratic Party is not liberal enough. Now, this is what I was touching on earlier, that what's concerning me is that Barack Obama was saying that he thinks, maybe we pushed too far. No, he didn't push far enough. That's the problem. He needed to, you need to be a Democrat and be a proud one, and remember that the only reason FDR didn't get elected to a 5th landslide term was because he was dead. Not because he was playing nice with the filthy Republican snakes that crashed the economy in the first place, that let people stand on bread lines, that said, in the new Gilded Age. In the Gilded Age, what am I talking about? New. We're in the new Gilded Age. In the original Gilded Age, they these were the people that would send your children into the mines. They'll do it again, and they're trying to. Republicans, do not be fooled that, or even lulled into a sense of security that we can't go backwards. We are going backwards. And by backwards, I mean that what is to stop the Republicans from, let's say, imposing or doing away with, let's say, child labor laws? That sounds outrageous, right? Well, all you have to do is Google it, and you'll see that these are policies that have been proposed. They continuously propose these policies, and eventually the ground will be seeded just enough that it's going to take. Oh, yeah, of course. I've even had people that I consider somewhat normal say, well, why shouldn't children go to work? Because, you got to teach them how to work and how to, they don't seem to get that, of course, these corporate bastards want children to go to work because it depresses wages for everyone. And, who needs a childhood? Who needs an education? Who needs an educated automaton or whatever? Autonomon. What am I saying? Automaton? They want the education to be a providence of the rich, just like it was when, the monarchy passed on power from father to son for thousands of years. That's what they want. That's what they want. Don't be fooled. They don't want your kids to go to school. They hate school. Even Mitt Romney said, you should get as much education as you can afford. That's the Republican way. Get as much education as you can afford. If you can't afford to go to school, oh well, go to work, sucker. Get in the mines. Get those little fingers to work, working and making something for your master. And so when this beautiful blonde Ivanka looking at her son, doesn't she have a charmed life? Well, what about all the mothers who would like to look at their sons, but they're sitting in a sweatshop, Ivanka? That's all you can do, Ivanka, is make a sweatshop in China? You're disgusting and stupid as well. And you know what? You can't take it with you. So, and we all know who you are. That's the thing. We get it. People get it, but not everybody, which is very sad. But why is it that the Republicans they tickle the racist funny bones? They always try to bring out the worst in people, dividing people and just making people stupid enough to vote Republican. Anyway, you know what? I'm looking for something right now. Hold on a second. Talk amongst yourself. I'm getting lost, and I have like 10,000 windows open. And there's even more windows open on my computer now because of the call-in thing that I have open. And okay, so the starting at 7, I'm gonna I'll take a break for like 10 minutes. I have a thing that'll play, and then we'll be back, and then there'll be phone calls and whatnot. All right, I hope the show doesn't suck. And I hope you like it. That's all I can say. I hope you like it. I like doing it, and we'll keep on doing it no matter what. And I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody hanging out. But, all right, so when you think about immigration. Now, this is a country of immigrants, and we know that whether the Republicans like it or not, that's the case. And when Donald Trump recently talked about taming the West, people who tamed the West, now tell that to Native Americans, right? Donald Trump taming the West. First of all, could you imagine Donald Trump taming the West? He's such a weak little bitch, I mean, he's a whiny little. He's somebody that would. I mean, if you were in the Donner Party with Donald Trump, he'd basically just kill you and eat you immediately. He wouldn't even wait for you to die. He's such a weakling, this person, and he's so and so how did we let it happen? You know what I mean? This is what I keep thinking. Why is it continuing that? And we're allowing the the Republican Party to drag us down to such a level that I don't think we'll ever recover from in my lifetime. How will we ever make amends for this? It's sort of like the Nazis, how I remember years ago, I used to volunteer at New York Cares a lot, you know. Well, the name of it was New York Cares, and I would volunteer a lot. It wasn't New York Cares a lot. I mean, we do care a lot, but anyway, and I met this woman who was from Germany, and it was during the first Gulf War, not the first, not Bush Senior's war, the other war. You know, there's so many wars. How can you keep track? But and I asked her about what the Germans thought of the war, and she said, well, at first she didn't want to talk because she had said that she was warned not to talk, like by her family, to not engage in political talk with people. And I was like, don't worry, I'm a normal person. I'm not for Bush. I'm not a Republican. And she said that it was very difficult for the German people to go against the war, to go against the United States, because, and I never forget how she said it, because it was interesting to me, because she said the Americans helped liberate us from the Nazis. And so even in the consciousness of the German people, they have the way that they speak about the Nazis is as if they were also liberated. And so they also would, she said that during, after that, their Nazi experience, in school, they are taught, and we know this for a fact, that they're taught about their true history, and it's continuously drummed into their heads. That is the difference between us and them. They have the maturity to look at themselves in the mirror, and we're still, if anybody tries to say anything bad about the United States, you have idiots chanting USA, USA, USA with their fucking fingers in their ear. And she also said that one of the things, like, when they have the World Cup and whatnot, how the Germans, although they're proud of their country and they are cheering their country on and whatnot, that they have a healthy fear of nationalism now. And because they're taught in school to have this fear, we don't have the same education system. And in fact, that's part of the problem, and which is why you have somebody like a Betsy DeVos going in there, and this is why Republicans want us to have all these different sorts of education. They want to teach us bullshit. They want to teach kids about intelligent design and all kinds of crap that will get them laughed out of any university and set them up for failure, frankly. Set the human race up for failure. There's a reason they called it the Dark Ages, right? It's because who had the access to education? Everything, there were numerous Dark Ages throughout history. It's not like we can't have one again. And I do fear one on the horizon. And if anything, I think about why I do this show. What's the point sometimes? One of the reasons is that I'm reaching out into the future as a time capsule, saying, you know what, we were aware, we were trying, and hopefully we'll be successful. I don't know at this point. I never thought I'd see the day when a Donald Trump would get elected, that this would be going on, all that he's doing. And you think that it's just different rules for him. So when Roseanne Barr gets fired for her racist tweet, and then they come out saying that Bill Maher should be fired for calling Donald Trump an orangutan. There's this cognitive dissonance, right? Where it's not, who has the effing time in their lives to explain to these morons why it's not the same thing? Of course, and they're not racist. That's the other thing they keep saying. I'm not a racist. I just think that, fill in the blanks, that black people are lazy, or it's so ridiculous. So people with a darker pigment are lazier on your skin. It's the stupidest thing. It can't even, there's no justification for it, because there is one race. There is the human race. And there are variations. Some people are tall, some people are short, some people are whatever. Have blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever. That doesn't make you, lazy. Or they have no, they're just not even embarrassed about it anymore. And that's the problem with Donald Trump, because you have a standard bearer, the Republican standard bearer, that is just dragging us down with him. And this is a person who, it cannot be repeated enough. He received fewer votes. He is completely illegitimate. He received help from a foreign power. He is unfit to judge a wet T-shirt contest in the Jersey Shore, much less lead a modern nation. He's really unfit to judge a wet T-shirt contest. Think about it, because he would cheat. Even in the wet T-shirt contest, that if one of the women who was competing, if they didn't give him proper deference or a blowjob, he would not make them win. He would not let them win. That's what he's completely corrupt from head to toe, from sun up to sundown. This is somebody who is unfit. He should not be in charge of that. He shouldn't be in charge of taking tickets at the goddamn off-track betting racetrack. This is somebody who is unfit. He's not normal. He's greedy. He's a narcissist. He's sick. He doesn't care about the human race. He doesn't care about his children, his wife, nobody except himself. There's something not right. And why do we let it continue? Okay, I keep saying that, but it's just that it has to be said nonstop. Why do we let it continue? Why does it keep continuing when we know this and it never stops? And so when Donald Trump tweets out in the morning the jobs numbers, could you imagine if Barack Obama did that before the Wall Street opened? He would be up on impeachment. There's every day there's a new line that's crossed, and it never stops. And so Roseanne Barr, now she calls somebody an ape, which is, of course, that she doesn't see. Oh, it's a joke. I was on Ambien in the middle of the night. I don't care if I'm on Ambien or whatever. You're not going to get me to tweet out something racist by accident. It doesn't happen if you're not a freaking racist. And these people need to get off Twitter and get a clue and read a history book. And they're in their echo chambers, back and forth, validating their illnesses nonstop, just validating just how sick they are. This is this feedback loop of lies that they're trapped in, and they're just swirling around in there. And now they're running the country because we have sick bastards who don't give a shit. They just don't care. The Republican Party, the fact that you have, what's his face, Mitch McConnell, bragging about not allowing Barack Obama to have his Supreme Court pick, and the Democrats just go along as business as usual. The Democrats should constantly, no matter what, harp on it, pound this home. Donald Trump is illegitimate. He received fewer votes. Neil Gorsuch is illegitimate. He is an illegitimate Supreme Court. That is a stolen seat. This is not normal. And we need to impeach this effing traitor. And when he's out of office, all of his filthy policies need to be null and void, too. All of his judges, the judges who are conspiracy theorists, who see UFOs, that's their only qualification is that they're loyal to a con man, and we're going to allow this to continue? I don't know about that, people. I think that's the recipe for death here. the death of democracy. Because like I always say, it takes a level of maturity to function in a democracy. A maturity that Republicans don't have. They just don't have it. And it also takes a level of maturity not to be a racist idiot. Because if you're a racist, you're a dupe. It's like Donald Trump's greed. You're easily exploitable. You're easily played. And that's where Putin got him. They got him for your weakness. Let me see here. I'm just looking at something. Okay. But this is who they are. So let's, back to the dung heap of history. Where, America's on her way back, of course. Back to the dung heap. Back to times best left in history's trash pile. We really, really know how to, when we crash and burn, man, we really know how to do it. At least that, right? We go big. We really go big when we screw it up. Because we're playing right. It's not we. I mean, it is us too. We are, because we're allowing it to continue. But we're playing right into the hands of Putin, who they're just sitting around laughing, saying, "See, look at how easy it was. I told you so." So, and the Republicans, the regressive nature of the party, do not think that they're kidding around. In fact, there's an article right now on RDT Daily, written by Grouchy Geezer, one of our writers, and I'll just read a little bit of it. He says, "Ladies, go pull out Granny's old 1950s petticoats and great-great-granny's 1850s gingham dresses with their adorable matching bonnets. You'll be right in style for a big upcoming shindig. A good regressive congressman is graciously holding a summit for all you ladies to help you deal with living in a man's world, and let me tell you, it's going to be chock full of vital info, such as how to keep that man-catching figure, how to use a newfangled social media so that you can henfest with more of your friends, how to budget your life if there isn't a man around, when you're not a woman, you're not as much of a woman. And if it all gets too much for you, there's a session on substance abuse on how to find a shrink." So this is, and he writes, right about now, you're probably wondering if you stumbled upon an Onion post, but au contraire, this is actually an upcoming event, and those are real session topics. So this is a Republican summit, women's summit. And this is what they're discussing. My God. How to keep a figure. It's unbelievable. That's what they want. And they'll have a token woman, of course, but the women in the Republican Party have to be bigger misogynists than the Republican male. They have to hate women. They have to hate all things female. They have to, shoot wolves from helicopters. They have to cut up a caribou, like, on camera. That's what Sarah Palin did when she had her reality show. She giddily carved up a moose or something that she shot. Like, it was disgusting. It's also, for me, I guess, because I just feel like women shouldn't be that disgusting and get that much pleasure in blood. They or hurting others. I don't know. I guess that's my bias, but she giddily just sliced up this poor creature who died for what? For Sarah Palin's prurient desire to be a reality TV star. And speaking of reality TV stars, I guess I'll save this for the next half. So now it's 6:59, and we're going into uncharted territories, people of Tarabuster world. We're going to play a 6-minute break. We're going to play the Green News Report with Brad Friedman and Desi Doyen, and then we're going to play a Progressive Voices ad for the PV app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you need to do that. And you also, a couple things you also need to do. You need to, and I would be appreciative of, download the app. Please give the show a review on iTunes. Maybe not this particular show, but, Tarabuster is in as a whole. And also, send a letter to PV or whatever. Tell them you like the show. Tell your friends, damn it. All right, so I'm going to take a break, maybe get some more tea, and we're going to play this. We'll be back in about 10 minutes, maybe. It might be a too long break, but we'll work it out. We'll work it out in the future. You know what I mean? And then Aaron's going to call in, hopefully, and then we'll open the lines, and we're going to have a good time. Okay, I'll see you in a bit.
Now, the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn presents the Green News Report.
This is one of those days when you don't want to be right.
Hurricane Maria's death toll in Puerto Rico, 70 times greater than the official government count.
We were all looking in horror at the video that came out of Ellicott City.
Maryland town hit with second 1,000-year flood in 2 years. FEMA denies reconstruction funds to some victims of Hurricane Harvey. Plus, new study finds U.S. insurers are not ready for climate change.
All of those disasters and more straight ahead. From BradBlog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
Stand by for 6 minutes of independent green news, politics, analysis, and snarky comment.
This just in from the Department of Obvious Metaphors. A sinkhole has appeared on the White House lawn. It's true. It finally happened. The Earth is fighting back.
Go Earth. This is your Green News Report. Okay, Desi Doyen, we now have news that, yes, in fact, the death toll in Puerto Rico was far, far worse than originally reported.
Oh, yes. It's a heartbreaking and disturbing new study. It estimates that the actual death toll from Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico last year is 70 times greater than the official government toll of just 64. Harvard public health researchers estimate that at least 4,600 people died in Puerto Rico from both direct and indirect impacts of the storm.
And that's the lowball number.
Yes, twice as many as Hurricane Katrina, making Hurricane Maria the deadliest U.S. disaster in more than a century. The most prominent cause of death was interrupted medical care, as victims waited weeks and months for federal help. In an interview with Latino Rebels Radio, San Juan Mayor Carmen Julene Cruz called it a tale of two disasters.
One was made by the environment, and the other one that was administration made. When I said we're dying here and you're killing us with your bureaucracy and your inefficiency, it was an SOS call.
That call has still not been answered. Donald Trump, right after the hurricane hit, said he was delighted that there were only 16 deaths. Well, he hasn't said a word since news of thousands being killed in the storm came out earlier this week.
And you may or may not be surprised to find out that cable news is kind of ignoring this study as well. Media Matters reports that cable news covered the Roseanne Barr controversy for about 10 hours and has only devoted about 30 minutes to Puerto Rico. The 2018 Atlantic hurricane season officially begins on June 1st. But subtropical storm Alberto apparently didn't get the memo. The first named storm of the season, it made landfall on Monday in the Florida Panhandle. It killed 2 people in North Carolina and brought heavy rainfall and flash flooding across the southeast. It forced evacuations in North Carolina after the heavy rainfall compromised a dam. And U.S. residents are still struggling to recover from last year's hurricanes, which were the costliest on record. Politico reports that in Houston, FEMA has denied reconstruction funds for many low-income victims of Hurricane Harvey because they did not carry expensive flood insurance while living in a flood zone, a requirement that many U.S. homeowners are not aware of. Half of more than 700,000 applicants in Texas were rejected for any aid at all. Meanwhile, cleanup is underway underway in Ellicott City, Maryland, after the second catastrophic flash flood in less than 2 years hit on Sunday. It killed an off-duty National Guardsman trying to help rescue others. The city received nearly a foot of rain in just a few hours. NBC meteorologist Al Roker connected the dots between these increasingly heavy storms and climate change.
The problem is we're seeing more and more of these heavy downpours. In the last 50 years, we've seen an increase of 55% in the Northeast, 42% in the Great Lakes, and 27% of greater rainfall and stronger storms, and that just continues to grow as we just continue to see climate change and more warm air making its way with moisture and causing bigger storms.
Good for Al Roker. Good to hear that on network television, finally.
Indeed. But the destructiveness of these flash floods is not just a consequence of climate change. Land management decisions, development in flood zones, aging infrastructure, and extensive pavement in the built urban environment are also crucial factors in flood events. Last month, Ellicott City received FEMA funding to build better flood controls after the last flood, but it came too late to be ready for this flood. Finally, a recent report from the Thomson Reuters Foundation concludes that U.S. insurance companies are not ready for climate change, that most have not adapted their strategies to address the whopping payouts associated with increasing extreme weather disasters. The lead author warns that insurers are treating weather disasters as isolated, anomalous events not correlated to climate change, and that means, quote, insurers that ignore climate change will not put away enough money to cover their claims.
Well, that's what government bailouts are for. For much more on all of these stories and the ones we couldn't get to today, please check out our website at greennews.bradblog.com. Don't forget you can download our reports anytime via Stitcher, TuneIn, or iTunes. Find us, follow us, and share us worldwide on the Facebooks and the Twitters at Green News Report. I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
And this has been your Green News Report.
Please help Progressive Voices support the Green News Report by stopping by bradblog.com/donate.
Every hour, an animal is trapped in a nation dominated by conservative talk radio. They suffer listening to right-wing lies, alone and terrified, waiting for progressive media to guide them to a future where cat food is for cats, not people.
Hi, I'm Tara Devlin, otherwise known as Pterodactyl from RepublicanDirtyTricks.com. Please say you'll be the answer to an innocent animal who's suffering right now from conservative talk radio, blaring right-wing propaganda into their sensitive ears, causing them a lot of pain and anxiety. You might think that I'm projecting my own feelings onto my animals. I don't think so. I'm a lesbian. I know what cat-ing, and they've told me what you can do to help. Go to ProgressiveVoices.com and download the free PV app to listen to the Progressive Voices network on your smartphone or computer. On Progressive Voices shows like Bill Press, Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Leslie Marshall, Mike Malloy, Ring of Fire, and more, you'll hear about the progressive policies that built the middle class, much to the delight of your animals. And because PV is nonprofit, we have more content, like Tom Hartman on the news, the Green News Report. Most importantly, tell your friends. Animals can't download the Progressive Voices app, but you can. Won't you do it for them now? This is your chance to say, I won't sit by while an animal suffers listening to right-wing bullshit that makes people stupid enough to vote Republican. Thank you.
RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right. I think we had some streaming issues during that. Who cares? This is so annoying. I hate this. I hope that people are hearing me and seeing me. It's very irritating that all these technical difficulties. I'll have to figure out something with the break. You know, we're doing it live. We're doing it It keeps saying it's stopped. Oh, you son of a bitch. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. What the fuck? Alright. Is there anybody out there? Guys, I appreciate everybody's patience and being a part of what we're trying to do. Hopefully it says that the streaming has resumed. I'm going to keep moving forward, and I hope that Aaron calls in. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I'm going to keep going. All right. So anyway, if you guys want to call, try it out, see if it works. The number is 360-777-6007. Now, if you are... I'm having problems with the fucking stream. It keeps, like, popping in and out. This show's gonna suck when you guys listen to it, but thank you for bearing with it, and hopefully it won't suck too bad. Or maybe you like listening to the struggle. The struggle is real. The dream is real. And we do it. We're doing what we can, people. I'm gonna do it anyway. Like I always say, you know, this is how you get through life. I did it anyway. I still do it anyway. You don't feel like doing it, you do it anyway. You wake up anyway. You go to work anyway. You reach out anyway. You're scared. You don't want to talk to that girl. You do it anyway. Because if you don't do it, there is nothing. There's nothing, you don't get any reward. So, as much as nothing is perfect, we're doing it anyway. And I hope that one day things will get better. Because you're doing it anyway. And maybe it will. Maybe it will. Maybe this... I knew that this show was going to be a shit show. But I'm kind of disappointed too because there's so much going on. Alright, hopefully the stream has resolved. And we're going to keep going forward. Now, if you're listening to the show for the first time, I'm sorry. It hasn't always been this way. It's we're gonna work it out. We'll be better. We'll get better. Maybe that's too long of a break. I don't know. And all right. Well, what I wanted to talk about, and I wanted Aaron to call in to freaking talk about it, but maybe he can't. So I'm going to keep going forward. I wanted to talk about the filthy Nazis that are the open filthy Nazis that are now running as open Nazis and Republicans. So at least, see, this is the thing. It's actually kind of good in a way because we're pulling the Band-Aid, not the Band-Aid, we're pulling the scab off of this festering wound that's never healed. This country needs to look at itself in the mirror, and that's what I wrote in the description of the show for today, is that we don't need a wall. We need an effing mirror to look at ourselves and to see what we've become. Is this who we want to be? We want to be a country that tortures people, that disappears people. This is what Gina Haspel is about. That's what we did. We shoved pureed peas up detainees' asses. So that's the United States. Now, during World War II, I remember reading about the interrogators of World War II saying that they received more actionable intelligence over a game of chess than they ever did harming people, harming their prisoners. Because that's how you got to get to people. Everybody's the same. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to connect. Now, if they hate America and then they get into America's hands and then they see that maybe they were lied to. America, these people aren't that bad. They're actually decent people. They treat me decent. They are respecting me. They're talking to me. That's how they got changes of heart. In fact, a lot of the Nazis or the Germans, some of them they had to be Nazis because it was part of, but they weren't in it. Maybe their heart, because in fact that's what George Washington had said. Treat them with don't give them complaint, because we're fighting for more than just a plot of land. We're fighting for an ideal. And an idea, and so you have that, and then you have do we want to be a country that when we want to be that country that's the Statue of Liberty? I thought, well, give me your tired, your huddled masses, your poor, who are aching to be free. That's what we want. We want those people that are fleeing. The reason they're fleeing for their lives. What would you do if your children were in danger? So we have to take responsibility. The other thing is that we had a hand in creating these failed states in the countries that these people are fleeing from. So what do? We get them. They get here following laws, and they. What do? We separate them. We traumatize them further, and we say, "Oh well, we're just following orders." That's who we want to be. It's repugnant. It's disgusting. So, I don't think we want to be that. And what is now? You think about what would happen if the opposite was true. If people came here and first of all, if we weren't around the globe creating madness and destabilizing countries because they have the audacity to want to nationalize their oil or nationalize their natural resources for their people. Well, why would we want that? Because we're all about mom and apple pie and democracy, right? We're spreading democracy, but no, we're not. In fact, the United States has had its hand in toppling democracies, legally elected democracies, for the sake of corporate monopolies. We've done it all over the world, and for centuries now. And all you have to do is read Smedley Butler's War is a Racket. We were doing it back then. What did Smedley Butler write? We made the world safe for Standard Oil. That's what they were doing. That's where they were. They weren't out there dying for democracy. If only, really, if only. And we need to look at ourselves on that. But Americans don't know their true history. That's another problem. We really don't. They're not taught that. They're taught, put your hand over your heart, or salute the flag, stand proudly and salute the flag. Well, Donald Trump wouldn't stand proudly and salute the flag in a uniform, though, when it was his turn to go fight in his in his generation's war of corporate aggression. He didn't want to stand proudly then, right? No, he had better things to do, like screw your girlfriend, or at least try to. Hopefully your girlfriend had more sense than that. But anyway, what was I saying? I'm still looking for Aaron to call, and I guess he's not calling. Okay. Be like that. Be like that. Aaron, what are you going to do? That's life. If this is my foray into calls and guests, then it sucks. Oh, well, one day. I guess we have to say you can only go up from here. That's the good news. You can only, when you hit bottom, the only way you go is up. Yes, I know. Yes, there is a constant feed issue. I'm having it too. It keeps saying, son of a bitch. Now it seems to be going. I don't know, guys. I do not know. I have the best internet that you can get. You know what I mean? For this, supposedly, and it ain't cheap, and it sucks. So there you go, America. You suck. Corporate America. Promises, promises. That's what that should be the slogan for corporate America. Promises, promises. right? But anyway, all right. Well, the problem here is I got a lot of windows open too. Anyway, so, all right, let's talk about the Nazis. We have open Nazis running in this country. Of course, they're running as Republicans because their standard bearer is a Nazi. And it's the other thing now. I saw the other day, I don't know, during this whole Roseanne controversy, how Sarah Huckabee Sanders was talking how because as soon as something happens, that Republicans, they follow the old fascist playbook of whataboutism. And it's actually something that it's also a Putin tactic, unsurprisingly. And Donald Trump he's learned it well. This is why he hates democracy. And his followers hate democracy as well. They openly hate it. And then it's not even hidden. When Donald Trump says things like, only I can fix it, that entire arena should have emptied out in disgrace. But that's what Republicans want. They want a strong man to fix it for them because they need daddy to save them from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place. That's basically it. And that's what they think. They think that as long as they have some perceived privilege, which it doesn't matter that on their back they're riding all these billionaires to the bank unfettered, and they're just as much of a dupe. But as long as they can kick down on somebody or supposedly, then they will cut their own throats at the command of this effing con man who, they want to meet for a beer, right? He's just like us. He's just as stupid as us. Look, everyone. He's just as ignorant as us. He says the stupid things just like us. So he's a real guy. He must be qualified to run the country. But when they praise America, this is the other thing that always confuses me. When they talk about their love of America, what are they talking about? They never specify, because what is it? What do they love about America? Because they hate everybody in America. They hate the diversity. They hate that white people are going to be a minority, and it can't happen quick enough for me, to tell you the truth. I can't wait. Oh, my God. And they hate the Purple Mountain's majesty. They hate the fruited plains, right? Because they're always blowing the tops off of the Purple Mountain's majesty. They're always fracking the fruited plains. What do they love? They don't love, their fellow Americans. They'll leave you on the battlefield every time, metaphorically or even literally. I don't know what they love about America, so I wish that they would clarify it. Do they love that Donald Trump gets to call Rosie O'Donnell a fat pig? That's what they love? Because, that's not a normal thing to love. And when you have when you think about what does it mean to be a patriot, and I've discussed this before, because to be a patriot means that you don't leave anyone behind. And that's for Donald Trump to vilify any of the people he supposedly represents, because he supposedly represents all of us. So when he's up there calling for somebody to be fired for calling, he should shut his Putin puppet pie hole. But he's not going to. But it's malpractice, and the Republican Party should shut his filthy face for him, but they won't do it. They can shut his face. They really can. And I've often said that, we should be careful what we wish for, because Pence is he'll be worse. Because he's a freaking fundamentalist. He's one of these Christian, what do you call it? It's not just a fundamentalist, Reconstructionist, I think. He's a sick man. He's a very sick man. He's a closet case, clearly. And, anybody who calls his wife mother, is a very sick man. And, I think that if he gets in office, if it becomes Pence, then we're going to get just as much fascism, but it will be even more insidious because the people will go back to bed and stop paying attention. They won't see it because it's not right in front of them. And Donald Trump is so egregious. He is such an outrageous, an unfit greed monster that it's maybe he's doing us a favor. But then I think the damage that he is doing is beyond compare. And so maybe it's not worth it because we may not be able to get it back either way after him. And what really has to happen is the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Oh, shit. I'm getting, hold on. Aaron is calling me. But he's saying something's wrong. Hold on, everybody. I'm sorry. Talk amongst yourself. Hold on. I'm just giving him the number. He's having a problem calling in. Of course, right? This has been a problematic broadcast. Why wouldn't he have a problem? Damn it. And now there's silence. It's always good when you have silence on I'm trying something different, you know. A lot of talk show hosts, they talk a lot. I'm trying the silence route. And I'm going to see what happens with silence. Maybe now's a good time to take a deep breath. Everybody. Fucking shit. Everything is just slow. That's the problem here. I'm unable to fucking give him the number. It's pissing me off. Well, that was irritating. Anyway. Alright, I probably lost about everybody. Just there. Son of a bitch. This is what happens. This is what happens when you try, people. This is what you get. You get a kick in the balls. No, I'm just trying to fucking give him the number. And stupid message is not going through. Just call it. Alright, well, Aaron's supposed to be calling in. Not that at this point, who cares? Probably nobody's listening. But, like I said, this was going to be a shitty show. Because at least Francis is in the back there. Because it's like, I don't know what's happening. It's a work in progress. You know what I mean? Maybe he's not calling. Alright, whatever. Alright, fuck this. This is bullshit. This show's gonna suck. I just tanked my entire career in radio. Before it even got off the ground, it just went to hell. I don't care. Alright, well, anyway. Alright, let me play this movie. That's what I should have done when I was doing this bullshit. Because we have Nazis, we have open Nazis running in the Republican Party, I wanted to play this video this little package that was created by Morgan Radford at MSNBC, and it's about Art Jones, who's running as an open Nazi in the Republican Party. I'm going to play this.
So there's a really alarming trend. happening in the 2018 midterms. Anti-hate groups say they're seeing a surge in candidates running on an explicitly white nationalist message. The Southern Poverty Law Center has identified 8 candidates running for office with white supremacist ties, a number they say is higher than any election in recent memory. Our Morgan Radford traveled around the country to actually talk with some of those candidates to find out why they think this is the year they can win. And Morgan, let's address this head on. The idea that by giving these candidates a platform for disgusting racist messages, by putting it on TV, you're giving their message oxygen. At the same time, these are people who think they can actually succeed here.
Some consider it giving oxygen, Hallie, but others say you can't combat hate if you can't identify it. Because the truth is, this is not the kind of thing you expect to hear in 2018. People calling for racial segregation and openly denying the Holocaust. But see, that's the message that's coming from a growing number of candidates this year who see it not just as rhetoric, but also as a winning platform. But there is a warning. Some of our viewers may find the following language and these views pretty offensive.
Hi, my name's Art Jones.
Nice to meet you.
I'm a candidate for Congress here in the 3rd District.
Okay. Arthur Jones is running for Congress in Chicago's 3rd District.
Do you think you have a shot at winning?
Listen, I wouldn't be in this if I didn't think I could win.
He's also one of at least 8 white nationalists running for state or federal office this year, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center.
I consider myself a white racialist.
Jones was a member of the American Nazi Party who denies the Holocaust ever happened.
6 million Jews. Ridiculous.
He's also campaigning to keep Chicago's neighborhoods 90% white.
I think most white people want a white neighborhood.
Do you think that black people are genetically inferior?
The average IQ of a black person is about 20 points lower than the average IQ of a white person. Okay?
I went to Harvard.
All right. And you got a lot of white blood in you, too.
Some white blood. I'm African American.
Well, that's where your intelligence is coming from, I think.
You think it comes from my white side?
I think so.
20,000 people voted for Jones in the March primary. And even though he ran uncontested, he'll be on the Republican ticket in November. A fact many locals find unbelievable.
And you want my vote?
No, I don't want your vote.
Okay, I
don't want idiots like you voting for me.
But Jones's supporters say he's exactly the kind of candidate they want to see in Washington.
Even Abraham Lincoln believed that the races should stay separated. He said there's too great a difference between the black and white races.
Do you feel that way?
I feel that way, too.
Anti-hate groups say the number of white nationalists running for office across the country this year is higher than ever before. Many of them running on the Republican ticket, like Patrick Little.
This monstrous nature of the Jewish people must be known to the public.
You think Jews are monsters?
As a group, they are definitely behaving as a 100%.
Little is running for Senator Dianne Feinstein's seat in California and blames Jews for Americans.
They do the bidding of a foreign power that has committed terrorist attacks against this country.
He says President Trump is talking to people like him.
Because he dog whistled about globalists, I didn't understand he was talking about Jews until after the election.
The state's Republican Party says it wants nothing to do with him and declined to speak with us on camera.
There should be a wake-up call. If these types of candidates are going to come out from under the rock, they need to be repudiated at the ballot box.
We're a nation of communists, atheists, crooks.
But their supporters say this is exactly what they think will make America great again.
It's not because we're racist, it's because we feel marginalized, and we're the ones who are being oppressed.
Both of those candidates are running on the Republican ticket, but the Republican National Committee says that America has no place for white supremacy. Hallie?
No, none. It is racist and disgusting, Morgan, and it is disturbing to listen to some of the comments in that piece. You talk about how this is a record number running, but it's still just 8, right? I mean, it's still just a fringe group out there.
That's the problem, Hallie. I think sometimes that when we dismiss them as just fringe groups, we don't allow for the fact that these people are trying to become part of our political process. So, for example, Patrick Little, that second candidate I interviewed out in California, he said that he's listed as a civil rights advocate. And when I said, now hold on, do you really think you're a civil rights advocate? He said, yes, I do. I'm advocating for working white Christian men, and we feel oppressed by the Jews. And I said, when you press these guys on exactly what it means, what their campaign platform means, they're talking about forcibly removing people not only from their neighborhoods and their communities, but also from this country and their lives. Hallie?
There was that moment, Morgan, when you were in that conversation with, I think, Arthur Jones. You said, "I'm African American." What was it like for you to be out there in these moments?
Well, you can imagine when he talked about my white blood, and I informed him that white blood is actually Jewish blood. You can imagine his face then. But the reality of it is that this isn't new to me, right? I'm African American. I grew up in the South with a Jewish grandmother, and I grew up speaking Spanish. But what is new to me is the way that we're now parsing words around the labels: white nationalist versus supremacist versus racialist. Right. And what's happening, and it's belying this rhetoric of violence, because even in the comments section, when they talked about this interview, someone said that journalist should hang from a noose. And that's the type of rhetoric that we worry could lead to action.
And let's not parse words here, Morgan. It is racist, and there is no place for it here.
Yeah, no place for it here, right? No, except there is a place for it here. That's the problem, and it's in the top of the Republican Party. And finally, on the phone, we have Aaron Blaine. Are you there, Aaron?
I sure am. How you doing, Tara?
Christ, what a nightmare. I'm doing shitty.
You took me away from my coal cleaning.
Oh, coal? What do you mean?
Yeah, every Saturday I like to have a bucket of coal because it's all about clean energy.
Oh, that's true. Right?
So
you're doing your part to clean coal.
Yeah. Just
since it doesn't exist, right?
Put the hose over it, and I just don't know where to send it, but I'm doing my part.
Well, you're doing. I mean, that's what Republicans like. They.
What do they like?
They want you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So, Aaron Blaine is a comedian. He's been doing stand-up since before he could stand. He's worked at clubs around Los Angeles, including the Comedy Store and the Improv, and he's an improvisational comedian as well as a stand-up. And he'll be performing on June 23rd in Orlando, Florida, at Shenanigans Comedy Festival, and with his improv troupe, Power to Improv. And you can follow Aaron on Facebook. And what else? You run at another thing, Broken Times News or something like that. What is that?
Yeah.
I forget. I follow it. It's a great name. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's Broken Times Now.
Now.
Yeah.
Broken Times News.
Which is really funny because there's another site with the same people called Broken Times Meow.
Oh, is that cats?
Because everybody loves cats.
Of course.
And yeah, so we. What's really funny though is occasionally I will post something thinking I'm posting it to Broken Times Now, so it'll be really political, it'll be really anti-Trump, and it's on the cat page. And I quickly change it when I can, but sometimes I'm not fast enough, and there'll always be a comment that'll say, "I thought this page was about cats."
Right. Well, everything. You know what? There is no downtime in fascism. This is what I've done that before, where I've posted "Impeach Trump Now" on like the wrong board, and people are like, "Well, I agree, but I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about." But it's just kind of a Tourette's, you know. It just comes out.
I just like that if it gets a comment, it's an angry comment that I'm assuming would be somebody I would want to anger anyway.
Yes,
so.
And they should be. I'm as angry as anything to watch what these freaks and fascists are doing to this country. And you live in the South.
I do.
Yeah.
And let me, I'll give you an example actually of the South. This happened, hold on. Somebody sent it to me. This happened today, at a resort in, near me. I'm currently in the Orlando area, so it's Mouse World. It's all theme parks and resorts. And this particular story today was about a black doctor and his family who were attacked at a Florida luxury hotel. They were called the N-word.
Oh, my God.
And the worst part about that doesn't surprise me in this area. Actually, it does kind of surprise me in a tourist setting. The locals, It's pretty much.
Why did this happen? Like, he's just a black person, and they just was like N-word, N-word, N-word.
Well, from what I was reading, it had to do with a child peeing in the pool.
Oh.
And so the family that happened to be black asked, or pointed out that there was a restroom.
Oh, God. So, oh, no.
And they took offense to that and started.
Well, who wants to swim in the pee of somebody else? They should be training their children not to pee in the pool.
Well, here's, and if that isn't bad enough, they went to the hotel security, according to this article, and security didn't do anything, because if they were to do something, they'd have to kick them both out.
Right.
Is the way they viewed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But this and everything.
But this is,
it's just another day in this racist ass country.
Yeah.
And what does the N-word have to do with it?
Yeah.
You can't have a disagreement with somebody and it turns into this you're an N-word, because they're so weak. These white little, I want to say white devils, but they're no offense to devils. It's like, why are you so weak-minded? You go right to N-word. That's who you are at your core. It's disgusting and embarrassing.
Absolutely.
This is so depressing that we have to live among these people. And this is what I was thinking, that sometimes I think about this a lot. I just think that we need to break this country up, man. It needs to. I know the Civil War. Okay, yes, we needed to free the slaves. That had to happen. But it's not working out anymore. It's like you're in a bad relationship. I cannot live among people who are like deep state and all lives matter. I wish they did.
Right.
But they don't. And
Anyway. I try occasionally to explain what white privilege is to the locals, and
they don't get it.
No, and there really is this general feeling that the white Christians are being oppressed.
Right. And they do believe that. They think that
they do.
Yes, and because they don't understand that they have had such an advantage for so long. And I think about my own family. I'm white, obviously, clearly, and my family my father and his brothers, they were in the Korean War. They got out of the Korean War. They went to school on the GI Bill. My father and his brothers bought a home for my grandmother using the GI Bill. Now, this is wealth that stayed in our family. And whereas black soldiers who served with my father, they were not eligible for the GI Bill to buy real estate with the GI Bill. They were able, like for instance in Levittown, a lot of soldiers after World War II, they made that community in Levittown. There were no black people that were allowed to live there, and they were allowed to get homes in public projects. That's it. So while the white people, like my family, were building wealth, intergenerational wealth, the black people are systematically repressed. They were by the power structure, and that is the definition of racism. So you can't be a racist unless you. And this is what these white bastards say to me. This one's. If you look at Trump's Twitter feed, all it says, and you just Google racism or racist. He only calls black people racists, okay? He'll say, like, this one is a racist, but it's always a black person. They think that they can't be racist. Show me the law that black people are writing to keep white people down, and or to segregate them, or to give them less, access to education, or a wage, or law, or whatever. Then we'll talk. But that's not the way it is, and and they've been told and coddled to be in denial, and that's why they're like babies. Anyway, and that's why I get depressed, because I think like we'll never grow up. You have to be mature. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, this isn't working. I'm a racist. What's happening? Why did I get this way? Why is this country a racist-ass country? Why is this person taking a knee? You know, why? Instead of, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be a conversation, but they can't even fucking do it. So I get depressed. So
today I was at Books A Million, and I just really I wanted to unplug, just get away from. Yes. But I noticed this woman. She's probably I don't know 60, 65 in her little her basket. She had a book called "Let Trump Be Trump."
Oh no, that's a saying that they keep saying.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And I swear to you, had she been, I encountered her at the register, but had we been at the political section, or I swear I would have taken that book out and put in Obama's "The Audacity of Hope." I really,
like the
I was
fucking
really
audacity of dope
I was
over
really
there.
looking around, going, this is what you really need to read, lady.
Let Trump be Trump. And what does that mean? Let him ride you to the bank?
He's being him.
Yeah, right.
I hate it when somebody on Facebook was, because they're all authorities.
Right, of course, yeah.
Somebody on Facebook was telling me that the press is too harsh on Trump.
That's
and I said,
the line, yeah.
I said, are you kidding me? I said, first of all, let's not forget that this guy campaigned on fear and
hatred, division.
And I mean, just personally, I thought there were so many times I thought he's going to be disqualified. And by the way, I mean, you got to back up and think about that candidate Trump. That was the craziest Republican primary. I mean, what were there, like 11 candidates? And
he
so
kept
it wasn't
knocking
like
them out, each one by one. All the normal ones. Well, normal or whatever, but yeah.
Right. But it's not like they didn't have choices. You know what I mean? There wasn't so that's what kills me when people come back and go, well, it was between him and Hillary. No, it wasn't. It was between him and about 11 other guys, and you chose him because it was so entertaining.
Yes.
It was on par with a tractor pull or a mud wrestling
trucks.
match.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to throw a Molotov cocktail into the system.
Right.
And I understand that. I understand that.
I understood it too.
Because it is true. The system has failed, but a lot of them are racist. So this is the other thing. Here's the thing. It's like they talk about the anxiety of the white working class voter, which is it's irritatingly tedious at this point, because they've done so many studies. Also, just interviewing them, it's really, if you dig down and scratch the surface, it's racism. They were triggered by racism. And because if they really were that economically insecure, they would have went for Bernie. That's the bottom line. Like, they would have, because that's what Bernie was talking about, the same things without the hate.
It was a rigged system. That was the meeting point between those two candidates.
Except he was saying we need to come together. It's not those black people. It's not those Mexican. So that's what they would have been attracted to, that message, not the racist message. So, and as we see, that's who they are. They get they're weak-minded, triggered by racism, because like if all you do is you just have to spend 10 minutes with them and talk with them, and it comes, you just got to scratch the surface a little, and it will come out that that's what it. But they'll always say they're not racists, like just even that they just think they're keeping it real. And that's also racist because they really think that they're better. But I don't understand why they're so scared then, if that's the case. If they really don't need their privilege, then okay, be done with it. And you know what I mean? Like, I guess they're just afraid that we'll all find out how inadequate they truly are. And they are. Because you got to be a dumbass to vote for a con man. And Trump is a con man. And there's a long history of this being documented, but that's why he's such a you know, I'm not going to say genius. Because he's not a genius. He's just got no moral core, and he's willing to do whatever. So he's
like, and you see it every day. You know, if you go to a mall and a child is just really tired and cranky, and they just start, they start acting up, and you see the phases that the parent goes through. No, don't do that, and then the kid persists, and then in the end, it's like they just go, all right, fine, all right, fine, right. Here's a sucker. Here's your toy. And I really think that's how Trump's done business his entire life. Yeah. I'll just whine and complain and threaten to sue you.
He's a whiny little bitch. Yep. Yeah. And the fact is, he's a sucky deal maker. There was actually this article just about this recently, how he lets when in his business life, he let other people that he worked with do the deal, because he would just be like, oh yeah, make it happen, and they would actually do the deal. So he sucks at deals, and he also will pay whatever he needs to. Like if he wants something, he'll pay, in fact, way above what it's worth. So he's just a sucker that they see coming, and that's what happened with his casinos too. In the Taj Mahal that he bankrupted, they told him that this thing is going to be bankrupt in 2 months after it's open, and because they had to lose when they did the numbers, it was like, we have to lose $1 million a day here to break even, which they don't even do that in Monte Carlo, so this isn't going to happen in Atlantic City. And he was like, he sued the guy that gave him that report for being libel or something, and of course the guy won, but he's just a douchebag. But he thought he would throw all his the big gaudy chandeliers that he paid 10 times the price, and then he would say, this is the 8th wonder of the world, and everybody would come. But that's not what happened. Because he sucks, and that's why this guy, like, he tried every angle, from water to steaks to he putting his name on like wrestling, and he's a fucking con man. You dumbasses! This is not a drainer of the swamp. So,
and let's not forget that this, the one thing that's always just stuck with me is that he started a business with a small loan from his family, and it's like $1 million. $1 million.
This is a small loan.
I don't know anybody that you couldn't give $1 million to that wouldn't have a shot.
Right. That's true.
Making
give me $1 million to RDT Daily in this show, and we will have a show that doesn't suck, like, at least technically,
Right. But I just I worked for a short time in reality TV. I did what's called scratch voiceover work. I worked with editors to put these shows together, and then they send them to network, and then they get the guy with the real voice.
Right.
Okay, so in reality circles, I had the Trump story years before he was ever in the political game. He was an actor, basically hired as an actor for The Apprentice. It wasn't his money.
Yep.
He was a big thing in the 80s, and then the bankruptcy, the casinos, but he still managed to have that name associated with wealth. So when he was hired for The Apprentice, it was under that illusion that he was this wealthy, successful person. Even the people he fired on the show, he didn't fire. That was all scripted.
Right.
So what's fascinating is that during the 2016 campaigning, the ghostwriter who wrote The Art of the Deal, he came out and said, if Donald Trump wasn't running for president, I would be fine with the book sales and the residuals and all that. But he said the fact that people are voting based on his business savvy. He said, I felt the need to come out and say something. Right. And he was talking about things that we see every day. He said if Trump went into a business meeting and he didn't know what was going on or was asked a question he couldn't answer, he would distract. Right. He'd get everyone talking about something else.
Right. He'd be like, Stormy Daniels or
right.
or whatever.
Yeah. So getting back to the con aspect of it, that it's I don't know. On one end, I want to say it's brilliant, but the fact that so many people are suffering as a result, it's not so brilliant.
And it's also,
horrible.
When you think about suffering, we are suffering as a society. The people who voted for him are also suffering. They're suffering the spiritual sickness. This is sick. When you're a racist, when you are hateful, when you're in a rally chanting "lock her up," when you're a misogynist and who is begging a con man for a trickle, you're you are suffering, and they have made America sick, and there is no there has to be some kind of cure, or this honestly, it's like the death of democracy. That's what's happening. And
you know me, I always try to put a positive.
Okay, well, please do, because I don't.
Where I am on this is that I really feel as tragic as this presidency is. I feel like we really appreciate what we had.
True.
And we will fight harder.
Right. It wakes people up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm certainly, I don't know. I go back and forth where I just think, everybody has, we have the same needs. We want to pay our bills. Right. We want to eat. We want our kids to go to good schools. And so, I mean, that's always where I try to start.
We do. And that's why it's so evil for Republicans to unleash this monster of hatred and division that's unfettered, and because that's really it. That's it. We all want the same things, really. Anyway, we have 2 minutes, just so you know. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say, I always find the pattern on the right is that it doesn't issues don't really affect them until it affects them personally.
Right.
And that's, I don't know. How do you wake up basic compassion and decency in people?
It does.
Why should I do that? Why
wouldn't
you do that?
You're right. Because I always say that the Republicans only see the light when something affects them directly, and that's a problem. And that's why you have to start when they're young. You have to start with children and train them and teach them about not being a dick, and how we're all in this together, and this is what democracy is, and democracies die easily, and they do it by divide and conquer, and we have a racist ass history, and we want to overcome it because we're all together, we're all moving forward. You need to cultivate that kind of society, and they don't want that. They don't want to hear it. They think they want you. They're still worried about a couple of guys, going and picking out, like Bob Kincaid says, picking out a China pattern. It's that's something you really worried about. It's just let people be people. Anyway, we only have 30 seconds, so I want to say thank you for dealing with the bullshit of the show. It's going to get better. Aaron is going to be a regular on the show, so what are we going to say? 20 seconds. Oh, of course. Thank you, and please. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say it.
No, I was just going to say that to anyone listening that this is a really good format. I mean, just to just to express.
Yes. Okay. 5 seconds. Remember.
Okay, that's it.
Stick together. We win. I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.